Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Probably a little bit better than me. I'm feeling grim today. Be nice to me. But welcome to another morning news live show. I'm going to run through the latest United news. Going to speak about Ruben Amorim's press conference ahead of Wolves, where he went in detail speaking about the system, the formation. I like to think that this will probably be the last time that we have to have like a longer conversation about the system, about whether we're playing three at the back, about whether we're playing four at the back. It's kind of a bit boring, but it's pretty relevant at this time. So I'm going to run through what Ruben Amorim had to say. And I want to get your reaction on it because I've seen some varied opinions since these comments in the press conference yesterday. I'm also going to run through everything ahead of the Wolves game tonight. Obviously, we play Wolves, Old Trafford, 8:15, last game of 2025. I'll get a poll up a little bit later in the show. I wonder whether or not you're going to predict United to win this game. I think we will. But let me say hello to everybody, and let's get on with today's show. It might be a slightly shorter one. I'll be honest, I'm crawling back into bed. Good morning, too. We've got Maddie, we've got Ant, we've got Alex, we've got Steph. Got plenty of mods in the house here today. Plenty of blues out. Josh, you're there too. Teresa, good morning to you. We've got Smee, Pranav, we've got Eunice, we've got Fred, Tony. Morning, everyone. Harry, I've seen you there spamming that comment. I'm not going to reply to it, buddy. Leave a comment once. Might read it out. Leave the same comment 4 times. Going to get ignored. Right. Should we run through that press conference yesterday? I think we should. So, if you missed it. Ruben Amorim. What's your take on what he had to say? Right, I'm going to play the clip of it here from Stretford Paddock. Have a listen. And I want to have a conversation about Amorim's decision not to change until now. Right? So I think it's an important conversation, this one, right?
First of all, is a process. When I came here in the last season, I understood that maybe I don't have the players to play well in that system, but was the beginning of the process. We are trying to build an identity. Today is a different moment. We don't have a lot of players. We need to adapt, but they already know that they understand why we are changing. Is not because of the pressure of you guys, of the fans. It's because now we understand the way we want to play, and the principles are the same. We can change the system, and I think we are going to become a better team, because when all the players return, we are not going to play all the time with 3 defenders. We are going to improve, but that was something that I was talking about. But then when you talk about changing the system all the time, I cannot change, because the players will understand that I'm changing because of you, and I think that is the end for the manager.
Now, that sentence there is something that Ruben Amorim has said actually on more than one occasion. And it feels like Ruben has been reluctant to change, not because he didn't think United needed to change, but because he felt that it would almost be like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Now, what that means is sort of like giving yourself an advantage that actually gives you a bigger disadvantage. It's kind of that's what that is suggesting. And it feels like Ruben was reluctant to change, because even if there was an upturn, one game I won't agree with him on that with is like the Europa League final. Like, he could have played bloody anything in that game. Any system wouldn't have mattered. If we had won that, ain't nobody going to be talking about the manager undermining himself. I don't think so for that game. But largely, I think I understand the logic here. Ish, and I know this is a pretty stupid. Part of me feels this is such a stupid thing to say. You know what it feels like now? It feels like we're kind of in a different scenario that compared to all the managers we've been in before, because I don't think any manager has reached this point. If their system wasn't working, like Ten Hag, he just threw it out. Well, Ten Hag didn't even have a fucking system. Let's be totally honest. He didn't. 2 games in, I thought he had an approach, but 2 games in, we stopped playing out from the back and we kicked it long. Did that help United in the long term? No. Like all of the next season was sort of like, I don't know what United are going to play like. I have no idea what United are going to turn up like. And he never, I suppose, got the opportunity further down the line because it was... Mate, my mind is frazzled today, man. Fucking hell. Tony's saying, do you think has there been any pressure from the top? I don't think there would have been pressure in the idea of like drawing it on a paper, like this is what you got to do. I think there would have been conversations. But I've seen people saying that Ruben Amorim refused to change formation, to protect his own ego. And I think that's just such a dumbass take on it. It's not to do with protecting his own ego. It's to do with the fact that he feels that had he changed that, he kind of would have lost respect in the dressing room, lost control, lost power in the dressing room. Oh, you seen Ruben? Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, he's giving in. Of course. Goldbridge yesterday with a headline. Amorim ditches the 3-4-3. That's not what he said, you absolute pleb of a man. But no, any chance that pull the grenade out, woof, let me throw that in the fan base. Lovely. Yeah, let me watch that burn. Come back for more. It's not what he said. What he said was, we might not always play with 3 at the back. We might change it. Like we changed it to 4 against Newcastle. And you heard like Gary Neville getting confused. Ooh, why is it that United were lining up in a 3? Like, why were United doing that before the game in the warm-up? Well, almost probably to confuse Eddie Howe, which worked. And we saw him bringing over Lewis Hall, say, look, make Ramsdale go down. Now, it's at Razor, like, people kind of like, I don't want to smoke. I'm just infuriated. And I get more and more infuriated at the crap that comes out of his mouth and the amount of fans in the fan base that use that. It's like, you know what I feel like? I feel like in modern football, a lot of football fans don't have to have an opinion. They just need to be able to take someone else's and use it themselves. And so many use his. And it fucks me off so much. Genghis Khan, you're talking there. AFCON and injuries dictate changes. I think Amorim's just used this as a bit of an opportunity because he was saying here that, you know, he was talking about how you can change when you're playing well. I don't think we were particularly playing well when we did change. When would you say that change first came in? Was it the Bournemouth game? I think it might have been the Bournemouth game. I wouldn't say there were major changes in the Bournemouth game. I think they were just things that we had probably seen in pre-season. But we hadn't really seen them too much this season. I think the Villa game and the Newcastle game were quite obviously a tactical change. The game against Villa, we ended up playing with the midfield 3. Mount kind of dropped in. We thought we were going to get overrun and overpowered in midfield, but we actually kind of ended up playing through them. And then the game against Newcastle, we fully switched to 4 at the back. Effectively, what Ruben Amorim is saying here is that, look, I could have changed earlier. The reason I didn't change earlier is because it wouldn't have been me dictating that I felt the time was right for the changes to happen. It would have been me, as far as the players were concerned, reacting to what everything is being reported, and now I'm changing. Not because I feel the time is right, but because I feel like I have to. Like it's a necessity. Now, is Ruben lucky that he has lasted this long? I think partly, yeah. But this is what I mean about, at this point in time, it feels like a slightly different scenario for United fans. Because other managers at this point would have already been sacked. But Ruben hasn't. And I think if we look at how we've played in these last 3 games, Bournemouth, Villa and Newcastle, I think we've seen big improvements. Not in the second half against Newcastle. I didn't really like what we did there. I think that was that a consequence of the players that we have available? Maybe. I don't know. Well, who did we have to bring on as an attacking spark? Xerxes? Wasn't exactly working. Lacey up against that very physical Newcastle team, and we were banked in our own half and stuck in our own box. I don't think Lacey would have really been able to get the ball too much. But yeah. One sec. That's the wrong one. I'm going to go down and read some comments out here. Like Stevie's saying, Ineos haven't backed him properly. I mean, I couldn't really disagree with that anymore. I think I always get a little bit frustrated when people specifically just talk about a manager being backed. And they just talk about transfers. Oh, how much money has been spent on this? Of course, that's a very quantitative way to measure whether a manager's been backed. But I think the fact that Ruben Amorim is still here, the fact that Ruben Amorim has always maintained the support of everybody behind the scenes, I think that is Ruben Amorim being backed, probably more so than other managers, because he hasn't given in, I suppose, and thrown the whole system out. And he's not even done it now. Is it? By the sounds of it, right? And this, I think, is a pretty... Well, the best teams in the world have the ability to week in, week out, if they wanted to anyway, chop and change. 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 5 at the back. I don't know what system I'm going to be playing up against. Having that unpredictability is a massive bonus. And you saw it against Newcastle. Like tonight against Wolves, I'll run through my starting 11. I can run through what my predictions were and what my predictions are. But I might be spectacularly wrong. I don't actually know exactly what system we will line up in. I don't know who's going to play where. And neither will Wolves. I mean, not that you need that advantage against Wolves. Let's be honest. Like, it doesn't really matter what United set up like tonight. We have to beat Wolves. They are crap, beyond belief. You know, sometimes you can go into a game over arrogant and complacent, all that jazz. It doesn't matter, man. Like, just get the job done against Wolves. I think there's a couple of super chats there. Let me read these out and then see what else he's saying. And he's saying solidify the basics, get the principles in place, get the players on his page, and then change a formation when he can trust the players. I mean, this is the process that Amorim himself has clearly been going through. Do I feel like he 100% trusts his players now? I doubt it. Do I think he feels he can trust his players more than last season? I think yes. Are we there yet? No. Is it the right time to change? When is the perfect time to... Change will always come in anything in life, really. If you change, there's always going to be kickback. Not everyone will like change. But change sometimes means progress. And in these last couple of games, I think United have progressed. I know that the measure of it wasn't exactly very high. Like the standards you're comparing it against, considering we finished fucking 15th last year. I know that. So me saying back 3 to back 4 mid-game switch would be huge. I wonder how often we'll do that in a game. I suppose against Newcastle, we had a back 4 in the first half and then we switched to a back 5 in the second half. So I've already seen it happen in game. I'll be honest, I think the first half was significantly better. Mr. Ben and Tony, thank you for gifting a couple of memberships, lads. I can see you down there. Samir saying, was it Van Gaal that continually changed formations almost each game in his last season? Mate, well, don't take me back for Van Gaal. That still remains the purgatory zone as far as I'm concerned as a United fan. There was that period, was it 6-7 games? I remember I took my dad to PSV at home. That was 0-0. I'm pretty sure we played Norwich, and there was a period where there was like 2 goals in like 8 games, and they're all 0-0s. It was stanky. Let me see what you're saying down here. Changing this 4-2-3-1 means one of them, Bumo and Amab, will be benched. Just what I say. you could give me any scenario down here, and you're going to find a problem with it. There is no perfect scenario. Oh, might mean Ahmad's on the back. Oh, might mean this person's on the back. Oh, play 3 at the back. Oh, play 4 at the back. What about there? There's always going to be problems, no matter what formation. There is no perfect formation where there's going to be 100% happy people. Like, remember that. And that, as a manager, I suppose you have to know that. You have to almost be like a politician. You're never gonna please 100% of people. And sometimes you won't please the majority. But if you get the decisions right, well, you get proven correct. I suppose the proof is in the pudding, and the proof is in what we see now in these next couple of months. Ruben hasn't changed until now because he's felt that if he did, he probably would have lost control of that dressing room. He would have lost the respect of the players, and he would have lost his job. There's a lot of United fans who could fairly argue that he could have and should have lost his job at this point. It kind of depends on where you sit with it. I told you where I lost belief in Ruben Amorim. I lost belief in Ruben Amorim's ability to build momentum because I just didn't see where these changes were coming from. But something to remember as well is this, right? Have I got that up here? I have got this. Let's quickly rewind. Okay? See the date down there? 19th of September, 2025. And this quote here, which of course gets used quite a lot. He was asked, you said when you want to change the way, you will change your way, and you're open to doing that. Do you want to change now? Is that on your mind, or did that come up in your meeting with Sir Jim about your system? I don't know whether that was after the Brentford game or not, but this is what he said at the time. He goes, nope, not even the Pope or someone. It will not, in terms of him being told to change his system. Like Jim Ratcliffe coming in saying, right, Ruben, you've got to come in and play 4 at the back. All right? I own this team. This is what you need to do. He's like, no, even if the Pope came in and told me that, I wasn't going to do it. And he said this at the same time. If I'm a player and I have a coach who has a lot of pressure, it doesn't matter if they are all around the world and they are saying that you need to change the system, and in this moment, they're going to be looking at me differently. It's something clear that this isn't a new thing that Ruben Amorim has said. This is something he said a few months ago, and it's something that whether you agree with it or not, that's a little bit different. But clearly for Ruben Amorim, this was like a core fundamental that he couldn't waver from. No matter what the results were doing, no matter what pressure was being exerted by fans, no matter what pressure was being exerted by the media, he felt that he couldn't change until he wanted to. And as I said, it's not about protecting his own ego. Because if anything, he's just taking more and more punches, and his credibility is just getting crucified as a consequence of waiting. But now the switch has happened. Now the cat's out the bag, if you want to call it that. Man United have played with the 4 at the back, have played with the 3 at the back, have played with the 5 at the back. We've switched. So what's going to happen now in these next, I don't know. I'll call it a month if you want to. Call it a month. We've got these next few games. We've seen progress in these last 3 games, so I suppose it's already started. But he's made it clear that even when the players are back now from AFCON, we're not playing with 3 at the back all the time. So Man United now have got that flexibility. Well, we didn't have it before. Let me see what you're saying down here. Alex is saying he deserves credit for standing strong on this. And that's where a lot of United fans will disagree. Because some feel that this is a conversation that should have happened earlier. But he's the boss. He's the manager. It's him who's implementing and him who's asking for these changes. And he didn't feel they were ready. Right? That's just kind of what it is. Advantage of this change, we can play a back 3 or back 4 and teams will never know what's coming. Like, do I think that if Man United played with a back 4 that we wouldn't have had loads of the results that we've had? I don't think it's a guarantee in any way, shape or form. the fundamentals have been far more of a problem than whether or not we're playing with a wing back or not. Like, for example, the Everton game. All right, we're watching that game against Everton. None of you were thinking, oh my word, like, can we just have a natural winger? Like that will solve our problems here today. You're watching that Everton game going, mate, why are you playing at 2 miles an hour? Can you take a risk? Can you drive through that gap? Can you please do something? Can somebody do something? Please. It wasn't anything to do with whether or not United had a wing back. It was just, in that game, you're thinking, man, it's a horrendous approach from these players in this game. Man, I want him to succeed so badly. I wanted Ten Hag to succeed badly, but I reached a point where you just knew it wasn't going to happen. I think after the Brentford game, that was the lowest I got with Ruben, but he's managed to ride that, and we're now at the point where we can chop and change and switch and flick and systems and in and out. And you can't really get the headlines anymore that Ruben Amorim is giving in. Unless you're Goldbridge or not. He's completely and utterly thrown it. He's ditched it. He's thrown it out the window. Twat. Yeah, it probably annoys me more than it should because I know that it affects people. And they're all choices. They're all completely choices of headlines as well. Where are we in the table? Oh, yes, 6th. Just want to see us win games. I mean, yeah, we're 6th. That's probably the ambition going into the season. Let's be honest, I think it was. Well, Omar Barada said it was in his interview with United We Stand. Is that where United need to be? No, it's not, man. I really do. I hope we get Champions League football. I really do. Could easily see us getting Europa League football next year. Danny's saying if we win tonight, we're potentially in the top 4. Are we? I haven't even looked. It's been a rough year, man. So much discourse. So much like exhausting conversations, man. I like to think that all of a sudden, if we switch to, I don't know, we play City at Old Trafford and we're lining up with a 4-3-3 and we've got Ahmad and we've got, well, you can't really play Ahmad and Boomer there together on the right-hand side. Is it going to make us like an infinitely better team? No. If I was to probably pull one big positive out of this idea, right? This idea that we're going to have a flexibility in the system now, it's probably to do with second halves. Because I think that's one thing that I've just, and a lot of us have been annoyed about this. But especially, even like situations where you're holding on to games or situations where you need to get back into the game, not really being able to switch the approach in the second half, I think has hurt United quite a few times. Like the Brentford game is going to be the best and the worst example of this. Again, that ended up with like Mason Mount being left wing back, and I don't know who was playing where, but the system was rigid, and despite the fact that we had all the attackers on the pitch, we didn't really know what to do. Nobody knew who to pass to. Nobody knew how to create chances. Whereas now, if you can, I don't know, say you're 1-0 down going into the 60th minute and United really haven't got a foothold in the game, now we can maybe switch to a different system and all of a sudden we can play with width and the defensive team will go, oh, balls. Well, everything they've been doing for the first 60 minutes, we have to change now. That, I think, will really help United. Being able to break teams down that we are unable to break down. A bit of tactical flexibility. Alex, I'm not talking about anything to do with Amorim contract extensions. That is not a conversation for now, in any way, shape or form. Some Bivominski saying all about stringing results together. Obviously. Man, sorry, my head is gone today. I really am. I think I've got some sort of flu. Damn! That's what you get for indulging for like 4 days. Man, I've been training hard. I've been training like 5 days a week for like 2-3 months. I have like 4 days of not training and drinking and eating, and all of a sudden I get the flu. Not a coincidence, people. Not a coincidence. McTominay rumours? Why am I going to reply to any McTominay rumours? That is one way to waste an hour of your time. Not even an hour of your time. McTominay's not coming back to Man United. I don't care who's saying it or where's saying it. End of conversation. You don't look 100%. That's a bit harsh. I think I look great. Right, should we talk about the game tonight? Because I don't think we need to speak about who's starting or what formation it is. I really don't. We should just be whooping Wolves tonight. Should be. Now I know that Ruben Amorim was speaking about it here. Is that the right one? Like Arsenal needed that, 2 bloody own goals and a last minute own goal to get a result against Wolves, and Liverpool only beat them 2-1 at Anfield. There shouldn't be a point in the game tonight where United are in danger of dropping points. What's your prediction then, peeps? Let's quickly get this down here, right? Start a poll. Prediction. And you can put it in the chat as well, what you actually think the result will be. So Wolves currently bottom of the table, 2 points after 18 games, conceded 39 goals. Pardon me. I would love... I predicted it only because I wanted it to happen, but I predicted a 4-1. I was like, sod that, give me the same result that we got against Wolves away, which was a harder game, 2 weeks ago. Now, of course, in this game, we're going to be without our main dons. We don't have Bruno, we don't have Ahmad, we don't have Mbumo, so United creatively will be slightly weaker. I do think that 1-0 win over Newcastle will give that defence a much-needed boost. It's only our second clean sheet of the season. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. John, you think 2-1. Merg, you think 3-1. Adio, you think 3-1. Craig, you go for a 3-0. 21 is coming. Great username. 2-0 easy win. We'll draw to spoil our New Year, says Chris. I hope you're wrong. But look, this was the team that faced Newcastle. I'll ask you down in the chat, what changes do you think we will see? I'm trying to think of what I put in the starting 11. So I took Mason Mount off. Let me get the other subs up here as well so you can see him. So Mason Mount, I don't think Mason Mount's going to be risked. And I was like, there's kind of 2 options you could see. And I didn't really know which one to choose. Because you could either... Look, Xerxes was, let's be honest, was just woeful. It was just woeful. In that game. He was. What I did was quite a bold switch, I suppose. But I put Jack Fletcher there. Now, I put Jack Fletcher, then I said, alternatively, you could potentially bring Cunha central. I would probably imagine switch Dorgu to the left wing and then put Lacey on the right wing. I wouldn't want to take Dorgu away from the right wing where he was fantastic against Newcastle. And Jack Fletcher came off the bench and played 45 minutes against Newcastle. And that was a tough game. So I think that goes to show that Ruben Amorim's got quite a lot of trust and belief in him. So that's the most like-for-like switch I think you can get. Mason Mount went off at half-time because he felt something. He wanted to come out for the second half, but Ruben Amorim and his team like, no, stay off. So maybe Mason Mount's completely fit and ready for the game. But the way that we've been handling injuries this season, we've been erring on the side of caution. So therefore, I would expect that Mason Mount gets rested tonight. Maybe comes on in the second half, but I would expect that he doesn't start. So I think the options are Fletcher in for Mount as a straight swap, Cunha playing central and maybe Lacey going wide, or Xerxes getting another start. I think one of those three things will happen. I don't know why someone's talking about a new offside rule. I'm not talking about an offside rule. Boring. Scout Potato, first of all, great name. Second of all, thank you very much for gifting 10 memberships. Right, let's see what the poll is saying. 94% United win. Yes, please. Let's hope you're right. I think it's probably more likely to be Xerxes that starts. And if we actually approach the game with this same system, that would be a better position for Xerxes to play in, rather than... I tell you what, he is not. He is not a replacement for Šeško. If you play Xerxes up there, he just can't do anything that he's doing. And he can't even hold the ball up, really. So you might see him play there instead. I don't quite know. I'd like to see that, though. De Ligt, still injured. If we go over here, that's not the right one. Team news-wise, Cobby's out, Bruno's out, De Ligt's out, Maguire's out, Ahmad's out, and Mbumo's out, Mazraoui's out. De Ligt's injury must have been more substantial than we know. I think it was a back injury, back concern. Either way, he's just kind of been kept on the sidelines. I don't see the potential in Fletcher, says Pepsil. Well, the truth be told, dude, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. It just means you haven't watched the academy. Like, again, I know they're not really United fans. I know they're just their performative clowns on social to try and get some attention, naturally. But people trying to not throw Fletcher under the bus, be like, oh, that's it. I've seen enough now. That's it. He's got to go. No, out. Not good enough. No. Like, some of the expectations of certain fans, it really genuinely is. It's like an academy player's got to come in and look like the absolute tits immediately. Yeah, I really don't have any idea what De Ligt's injury is. I'll be honest. What are we saying down here? Gungshi, thank you very much for gifting 10, dude. I apologise my head's not in it today, peeps. I'm going to wrap it up quite shortly. I'm screwed. I don't know what these new offside rules are. I can't bother to talk about them. Let's see what the poll's saying. We've got 93%. Yeah. I think United should be winning tonight. United should be winning quite comfortably. And do I agree that waiting until now was the right thing for Amorim to do? I think I would have liked the changes slightly earlier. But who am I to be able to judge whether or not the players were ready for it? Well, that's Ruben's job. He is the head coach. The quizzes, we're going to bring the quizzes back next year. I've just been a bit off these last couple of days. There is no hangover going on here. I was in bed at 10 p.m. last night like a good boy, and I still feel like crap. How can he say Šeško 3 goals, Cunha 2, Casemiro and Dorgu 1 each? If United score 7 tonight, I will very much not be. I'll be feeling a lot better. But look, I'm going to wrap this up for today. It's only 34 minutes. That's the shortest show you're going to be seeing this year. Probably. Man. Thank you all for tuning in. I apologise, I'm not quite myself here today. I hope that I will be a little bit better tomorrow. And I'll be here after the match tonight with the match reaction. All right? Take it easy, everyone.